The next story is the story of Thief or The Thief's Story by Ruskin Bond. You know Ruskin Bond very well. I have given a note about their author also. A young boy makes friend with Anil. The young boy is the thief. Anil trusts him completely and employs him. Does the boy betray his trust? Now, betray is a word that means breaking somebody's promise or faith. Let's find out what is in the story. I was still a thief when I met Anil. So, who is I in the story? The thief, whose name he keeps on changing. In the story, his name is Hari Singh. And though only 15, I was an experienced and fairly successful hand. So, he is praising himself that he is very expert in stealing. Anil was watching a wrestling match when I approached him, and he was about 25, a tall, lean fellow. He looked easygoing and kind, simple enough for my purpose. So, what is his purpose? His purpose is to make his victim, steal something from Anil. He looked very simple, easygoing person. I didn't had much luck of late and thought I might be able to get into the young man's confidence. So he's saying, this man looks very simple. I can gain his confidence easily. You look a bit of wrestler yourself, I said. A little flattery helps in making friend. So he's saying, I'm buttering up, I'm giving the praise to this man so that I have a very easy conversation with him. So do you, he replied, which put me off for a moment because at that time I was rather thin. Well, I said modestly, I do wrestle a bit. What is your name? Hari Singh. I lied. I took a new name every month. That kept me ahead of the police by my former employers. So he's saying I live in disguise and so I keep on changing in my name. After this introduction, Anil talked about the well-oiled wrestlers who were grunting, making a lot of sound when you punch somebody, lifting and throwing each other about. I didn't have much to say. Anil walked away. I followed casually. Hello again, he said. I gave him my most appealing smile. I want to work for you, I said. So who is I in the story? Hari Singh. But I cannot pay you. So he very straightforwardly said that I cannot pay. I'm not a good earner. I thought that over for a minute. Perhaps I thought misjudged by a man. So he looked quite rich, but he was not a rich man. I asked, can you feed me? So he asked, can you cook? I can cook. I lied again. If you can cook, then maybe I can feed you. He took me to his room over the Jamna Sweet shop and told me I could sleep on the balcony. But the meal I cooked that night must have been terrible because Anil gave it to the stray dogs and told me to he told me to leave the house. But I just hung around smiling in my most appealing way. He couldn't help laughing. So no, he won the heart by his smiles. Later, he petted me on my head and said, never mind, he would teach me to cook. He also taught me to write my name and said that he would soon teach me to write whole sentences and to add numbers. I was grateful. I knew that once I could write like an educated man, there would be no limits to what I could achieve. It was quite pleasant working for Anil. I made the tea in the morning and then would take my time buying the day's supplies, usually making a profit of about a rupee a day. I think he knew I made a little money this way, but he did not seem to mind. So he took out his no, his daily earning by buying things from market. Anil made money by fits and start. No, he was not regular in his income. So what does the phrase use for that? Fits and start. How Anil earned the money? He was a writer and earned his money in fits and start. He would borrow one week and lend the next. He kept worrying about the next check. But as soon as it arrived, he would go out and celebrate. It seems he wrote for magazine, a queer way to make a living. So for this thief, it is a strange way of making money by writing for a magazine. One evening he came home with a small bundle of notes, saying he had just sold a book to a publisher. At night I saw him tuck the money under the mattress. No, the bedding, that is a mattress. I had been working for money for almost a month, apart from cheating on shopping, and had not done anything in my line of work. I had an opportunity. So this Hari Singh is thinking in his mind that he has an opportunity because he got a lot of money and he saw him where he kept. Anil had given me a key to the door and I could come and go as I pleased. He was the most trusting person I had ever met. And that is why it was so difficult to rob him. So this is what the central idea of this story, that when somebody is so trusting, how can you distrust that person? It's easy to rob a greedy man because he can afford to be robbed, but it's difficult job or rob a careless person. Sometimes he doesn't even notice he is being robbed. That takes all the pleasure out of the work. So he is making profession as a pleasure also. There's a sense of achievement he is feeling in stealing, and when somebody doesn't notice his stealing, he feels very bad about it. Well, it's time I did some real work. I told myself I am out of practice, and if I don't take money, he will only waste it on his friends. After all, he doesn't even pay me. Anil was asleep. A beam of moonlight stepped over the balcony and fell on the bed. I sat up on the floor, considering the situation. If I took the money, I could catch the 10:30 express to Lucknow. Slipping out of the blanket, I crept up to the bed. Anil was sleeping peacefully. His face was clear and unlined. Even I had more marks on my face, though mine were mostly scars, wound marks. My hand slid under the mattress and searching for notes. When I found them, I drew them out without a sound. Anil sighed in his sleep and turned on his side towards me. I was startled, surprised, shocked, and quickly crawled out of the room. When I was on the road, I began to run. I had notes at my waist, held there by the string or cord of my pajamas. I slowed down to a walk and counted the notes, 600 rupees in 50s. I could live like an oil-rich Arab for a week or two. I can live like a king. When I reached the station, I did not stop at the ticket office. I had never bought a ticket in my life, but dashed straight to the platform. The Lucknow Express was just moving out. The train had still to pick up speed. I should have been able to jump into one of the carriages, but I hesitated. For some reason I couldn't explain, and I lost the chance to get away. When the train had gone, I found myself standing alone on the deserted platform. I had no idea where to spend the night. I had no friends, believing that friends were more trouble than help. And I did not want to make anyone curious by staying at one of the small hotels near station. The only person I knew really well was the man I had robbed. Leaving the station, I walked slowly through the bazaar. In my short career as a thief, I had made a study of men's faces. When they had lost their goods, the greedy men showed fear, the rich men showed anger, the poor men showed acceptance. So he's now being now categorizing people. The greedy men, they show fear of being robbed. Rich men show their anger. The poor men show their acceptance. But I knew that Anil's face when he discovered that theft would show only a touch of sadness, not for the loss of money, but the loss of trust. This is a very, very important line for building up the character of Hari Singh. It was not loss of money, but the loss of trust which will be highlighted on the face of Anil. I found myself in the Maidan, sat down on the bench. The night was chilly and it was really early November, and light drizzled. No, it was showering. It was light showers added to my discomfort. Soon it was raining quite heavily. My shirt and pajamas stuck to my skin. He got wet, no, drenched in the rain. A cold wind blew the rain across my face. I went back to the bazaar and sat down in the shelter of the clock tower. The clock showed midnight. I felt for the notes. They were damp from the rain. Anil's money in the morning, he would probably had given me 2 or 3 rupees to go to the cinema, but now I had all. I didn't cook his meals, run to the bazaar, or learn to write whole sentences anymore. I had forgotten about them in the excitement of the theft. Whole sentences, I knew, could one day bring me more than 100 rupees. So he's saying if he is educated, if he is learned, he can earn more money. It was a simple matter to steal, but sometimes just as simple to be caught. But to be really a big man, a clever, respected man, was something else. So now he's swinging from his bad mentality to the good one, and he's saying to become a clever, big man and respected man, that is something else. I should go back to Anil, I told myself, if only to learn to read and write. So you people don't read and write, but see how eager he is to read and write, to learn how to read and write. I hurried back to the room, feeling very nervous, for it is much easier to steal something than to return it undetected. He wanted to return without being caught. I opened the door quietly and then stood in the doorway. In clouded moonlight, Anil was still asleep. I crawled to the head of the bed, and my hand came up with the notes. I felt his breath on my hand. I remained still for a minute. Then my hand found the edge of the mattress and slipped under it with the notes. I woke late next morning to find that Anil had already made the tea. He stretched out his hand towards me, and there were 50 rupee note between his fingers. My heart sank. I thought I had been discovered. I made some money yesterday, he explained. Now, now you will be paid regularly. My spirit rose, but when I took the note, I saw it was still wet from the night's rain. Today we will start writing sentences, he said. He knew, but neither his lips nor his eyes showed anything. I smiled at Anil in my most appealing way, and Anil came by itself without any efforts. So, this is what his simple gesture won his heart, and he can, a gentleman, he turned into a gentleman and genuine man from a thief. So, a small gesture, small attitude, small act of yours can change somebody. There are 5 words given here: flattery, insincere praise, modestly, without boasting or in a humble way, grunting, making no guttural sound. Guttural is from throat below the appealing is attractive. Unlined is showing no sign of worry or anxiety. That's all in the chapter. I hope you liked it.